everyone. For today's Valentine card, I'm using the CC Designs Swiss Pixie Love Letter Lucy image, and I had inked her up with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamped her onto just some heavyweight Copic quality cardstock. And then I'm just using my Prismacolor pencils to color her in. So as always, I started with the skin, and I'm using peach, and then added a little bit of light umber just in the darker areas, and then they'll just blend together when I use my blending stump. I've already got a separate video on Prismacolor pencils and odorless mineral spirits on my channel if you are new to this. But once I blended out the skin, I added a little bit of pink to her cheeks, which was actually hot pink. And then blended that out, and then went on to her hair, and I started with pumpkin orange. And I added little squiggles and scribbles to kind of give it more of a wavy look, since the lower parts of her hair obviously look like they're curly. And then I added the burnt, is it ochre? Is that how you pronounce it? And then terracotta. And just kind of back and forth, blended some of it I didn't blend, just to give it kind of a curly, wavy look. It's something fun to kind of play with, and yeah, it works well with pencil crayons, as we call them in Canada. Apparently everyone else calls them colored pencils. That's something new I learned. But yeah, I super sped up the coloring process just because it can be a bit time consuming, and today when I was doing this, I kept getting interrupted and everything else, so it took me forever to color this image. So I feel like I'm just going over and over the same thing. So yeah, I've sped this up about 800% just to kind of get it over with. That, and I'm not doing anything fancy, just laying down the color and then blending it out. I purposely went with non-Valentine colors, and you'll see when I use the pattern paper too, I went with a non-Valentine paper pad, just something different. But yeah, I just did different colors at a time, different sections at a time, and I used the same blending stump for all of it, which was actually quite a large blending stump, but it worked. So you just get to experiment and do whatever works for you. So once I was done coloring, I trimmed out the image with my scissors, and I've also done a video of that separately on my channel. I did one, it's years old, but it's just a matter of holding the scissors steady and moving the cardstock around to where you want to cut. So it doesn't take very long at all. And yeah, once I got that trimmed out, I used my Tim Holtz craft knife to cut out this little center part here, and it was a little bit more finicky just because the cardstock, I was using 110-pound cardstock, so it was pretty heavyweight. But yeah, I just sliced through it over my craft mat and then pop it out, and we're good to go. Or you could just leave it. It's up to personal preference. It kind of just depends on my mood whether or not I get really finicky with trimming out images. So after I did that, I just grabbed some green cardstock from my stash that went fairly well with the pattern paper, and die cut it with one of my Pierce Circle Stacks dies from MFT. And then I took a strip of paper and figured out where I wanted that to go on the circle, and then die cut that again so that it would have the little pierce holes as well. And then I grabbed a couple more pieces of pattern paper, and this is all from the Fancy Pants Collecting Moments 6x6, so not Valentine at all. But I thought, something different. So then I die cut a piece of white cardstock with the MFT Say What dies, and I just used the smaller little speech bubble. And then the sentiment stamps are from my Adoring You set. And I just used a tiny little bit of adhesive to adhere that bubble down onto my craft mat so that it wouldn't move. And then using my stamp positioner so that I get the stamp lined up, since these are rubber and you can't see through them. And I get that stamped into place on the little speech bubble. And then I used my CC Designs Cutters Hearts and Arrow dies and just some pink cardstock from my stash to die cut a few little pink hearts. So that's kind of just to go with the image, since there's already a couple hearts on it, and to kind of give it more of the Valentine feel, even though the rest of it's not pink and red and girly at all. So I also kept everything really, really flat this time, rather than I was going to pop things up on dimensionals and add buttons, and I don't know, today I wanted to keep everything just flat and simple. Just simple. So I adhered everything down just using my Tombow Mono Multi, got the speech bubble in place, and then adhered the little hearts. And for those teensy tiny little hearts, like they were so small, the easiest way I find to adhere little things like that is to put the tiny dabs of glue where I want the little thing to go, and then just pressing my finger against it picks it up. And then it just plops right into place, press it down into the glue, and you're good to go. So did that, and then I'm going to adhere that to my card base, which is again just heavyweight white cardstock, standard A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And then on the inside of the card, I wanted to keep it super simple, so I grabbed the Swiss Pixie mailbox stamp and my Memento Bamboo Leaves ink, And I inked up the stamp and then stamped it off once onto some scratch paper just to lighten the ink up a bit because I didn't want it full strength. So stamped it off once, and then I'm going to stamp it on the inside of my card. And then once I've got that into place, I'm going to use my stamp positioner again and one of the Happy Valentine's Day sentiments from the Adoring You set. So ink that up with my VersaFine, got it positioned with my stamp positioner, and then get it into place on the inside of the card. Just like so. Get that out of the way, inked it up again, stamped it, and then finally to tie it all together, I just added another strip of pattern paper and that last little die cut heart, and that's all there was to it. So there will be a link below the video to my blog post with links to all the supplies used. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!